Welcome students to your economy class. Today you will be presenting your projects about the three countries, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh you researched about. The first one up is Beast Boy, and he will be discussing the healthcare of all three countries.
Okay, the first one up is Beast Boy. Oh, I'm not even. Hello. First out of the three countries is India. India has a population of about 1.311 billion as of 2015, and as you can see, it is ranked number 2 right under China. Among the total population, India is ranked number 3 for the total people living with HIV and AIDS. There is 2,118,100 people living with HIV and AIDS, and there has been 67,600 deaths because of HIV and AIDS. But do they receive help? India has a gross domestic product of 4.7% on health expenditures, which means that mostly all health expenditures are paid out of pocket. This is difficult because it is difficult to maintain a job, and in this country, 10.7% of the population is unemployed, and the ages range from 15 to 24. However, there is 26,965,074 children who participate in child labor, not because they want to, but because they have to. They get about 100 Indian rupee a day, which is equivalent to 1.55 US dollars, which is clearly not enough. People in India get exposed to public and private health care depending on their quality of life. Most of the public health care caters to the rural areas, and the poor quality arises from the reluctance of experienced healthcare providers to visit the rural areas. Consequently, the majority of the public healthcare systems catering to the rural and remote areas relies on inexperienced and unmotivated interns who are mandated to spend time in public healthcare clinics as part of their curricular requirement, which means that these people don't get high-quality doctor's visits. Private healthcare providers in India typically offer high-quality treatment at high reasonable costs, as there is no regulatory authority or statutory neutral body to check for medical malpractices. There is a non-availability of diagnostic tools and increasing. So finally, there's Bangladesh. Bangladesh has a population of 156,000 million people and has had 9,600 people living with HIV and AIDS. This country has a gross domestic product of 2.8% in health expenditures, which is in the same range as Pakistan. People in Bangladesh get paid $229 US dollars annually, which is $0.09 per hour. In Bangladesh, there is 19 births per 1,000 population and 5.3 deaths per 1,000 population. Bangladesh is really low on doctors because they are unexperienced. Most people travel to India to get some assistance, but in Bangladesh, the number of hospital beds per 10,000 population is 3. Bangladesh suffers from some of the most severe malnutrition problems. The present per capita intake is only 1,850 kilocalories, which is average, I guess. Malnutrition results from environment, like the agriculture. Well, they have a lot of floods, which cause a lack of crops, which ends up in food shortages, and the health and sanitation. Next is Pakistan. So Pakistan has a population of 200 million people, and it's the 7th country with the biggest population, and they have 102,000 people with living with HIV and AIDS. which has caused 3,600 deaths. That country has a gross domestic product of for health expenditures of 2.6%, and which is much worse than India, but they're up there. But could they afford it? Well, they get about $6 a day, which is slightly better than India. There is 22.3 births per 1,000 population and 6.4 deaths per 100 population. There is a few hospitals in the urban area, but not enough. Most of their young doctors get sent to the UK or the USA. They do afford good quality, but most of it aren't really affordable, which means that they have to like sell their household assets, travel very far. Some even go to India because they can't, like, the quality there is bad. Well, the ones that they can afford. There's about 435,000 annual deaths of children under 5 years old for curable diseases such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, measles. This has to do with the lack of vaccinations.
You can go take a seat now, Beast Boy. The next one up is Robin. He will be discussing the workers' rights of the three countries.
Hello, ladies and gents. So to start off, we will be talking about Bangladesh. So there has been an increase in unemployment rate. The cause of unemployment rate is due to the fact that there is rapid growth population, unsocial activity, mental stress, lack of education, and many other reasons. Bangladesh is a country that is overpopulated, which gives many people less job opportunity due to the fact that the number of people keeps increasing. The unemployment rate in Bangladesh is about 3.7%. Many people are eligible for jobs, however, only a small amount of people get the job, since there isn't many jobs out there. In Bangladesh, workers did not have a voice, which led to many deaths. The managers would threat workers, and since there was no trade union, workers couldn't resist to the threats they would receive. Many workers were injured and lost their lives during the collapse of the Rana Plaza building. After the collapse of that building, Bangladesh amended a labor law which made it easier for unions to be formed. It also made it difficult for workers to be threatened. Now, on to India. In India, there is unemployment due to the fact that there is rapid growth population. In many areas in India, the population is increasing rapidly. Another reason why there is unemployment is because there is limited land. Since the population is increasing, there isn't sufficient land for the population, which creates unemployment. Many people depend on agriculture. A law that existed was the Industrial Law, which developed the vastly increased awakening of workers' rights. However, this law would not cover all workers. It would only cover a small amount of workers. Lastly, we have Pakistan. There is an unemployment rate of 6%. Throughout the years, the unemployment rates have been increasing due to high population growth, defective education system, and many other reasons. They have a defective education system because they do not have educational planning. There are many graduates, however, many of them do not want to stay in the country or aren't being paid correctly, which is why they don't get the job. There is a prohibition pertaining to child labor. There are many laws that regulate the working conditions for child labor, for example, the Children Act of 1937. This is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for your time.
Terrorism in India is never good to its people because it causes catastrophes and death. India usually gets attacked by political interests and religious attacks from Pakistan and Bangladesh. For example, planting bombs attacking the Indian people. Since Pakistan sponsored terrorism groups in 1989, India became terrified from invasions Economy also plays a role on terrorism because resources are scarce like food, water, and land. Groups like ISIS usually invaded Jammu and Kashmir, a state in northern India. Both Pakistan and Jammu and Kashmir are neighbors. The separatist violence has killed more than 47,000 people, which does not include people who have disappeared due to the conflict. Some human rights groups and non-governmental organizations put the death toll at twice the amount. The Minister of India wants to put a fence all around India, closing 90% of borders, keeping migrants and terrorists away from the citizens of India. In the country of Bangladesh, there is terrorism. Many lives of citizens and government officials are eliminated because of terrorist groups like ISIS and Al Qaeda in India, who impose the Bangladesh citizens. For example, liberators, LGBT activists, and religious minorities are killed. ISIS claims responsibility for attacking restaurants, weddings, and several public places. The government of Bangladesh had assistance from the United States of America with money laundering to secure borders around its country. The government does not want his country of Bangladesh to become a safe haven for terrorists. The government of Pakistan is trying to suppress the terrorist groups within their country. The Pakistan economist and strategist Sarah Aziz stated, "The total number of incidents in the last 2 years are down by 70%. And if that is not good progress, I'd like to see any other country which has achieved that much success in such a short time against terrorism." End of the quote. You can go take a seat now, Robin. The next one up is Mr. Anger. He'll be discussing terrorism and environmental. The energy resources in India at first is coal. About 80% of the coal deposits are in India. The state of Jharkhand is the largest coal field, followed by Ranijan. The rivers of India usually contain bacteria and viruses that flow in the water, causing many people to get sick from nausea, diarrhea, sometimes diarrhea. In the country of Bangladesh, there are some health hazards. For example, the water can be contaminated with bacteria and viruses, killing people when they consume the water. For example, a woman in Bangladesh states, "The water is dirty. With pollution, we have no choice to drink the water from the river. I know it is dirty. Sometimes there is dead dogs, cattle, and feces wandering around the water. We get sick. Some people die from the water." Bangladesh is very dense with populations, making water sources